I'm going to start with Mokate. This is a good place to start. This morning, listening to Bloomberg at 5:30 or so, there were a couple of conversations going on with executives in Davos, speaking about the global pressures that are coming. And a lot of the conversation is about the imperative for business to build relevance. That there's a lot of lip service to established practices, existing industrial footprint, and that what is coming at us demands, not only demands, but there is an urgency in this demand for change. Roland made reference to it in talking about the decarbonization, the alternative materials, and you carry this title, innovation. Or you carry this term, innovation, in your title. One of the guests on the Davos conversation, Hendrik Andersen, the CEO of Vestas Wind Systems, which is the biggest builder of alternative energy, wind energy, globally. And Hendrik Andersen says, it took us about 100 years to install the existing infrastructure. We cannot uninstall it in 100 years. We have to install it quicker, but we cannot uninstall it in the next year. I'm making a statement, and I'm hoping that that opens a conversation about the runway of the importance of this imperative of decarbonization, alternative methods, alternative technologies. Won't you share that as an opening part of our conversation of what's going on at PPC?
Our roadmap is to actually understand what is happening in our space, in our markets, how our consumer behavior is changing, and work, how can we leverage on some of those opportunities to make ourselves relevant, as Professor Mtombeni said. And that's one aspect.
Okay.
And the second aspect is, what is the level of investment that we make to actually enrich our understanding of the consumer behavior? And I think one of the biggest things in cement, we've been very good in making a product, but not very good in really getting a reach into the market, but also understanding our consumer behavior. What are the patterns? What is happening globally in terms of the evolution of our industry? We've actually looked at recent data where you can see a lot of the majors are slowly divesting from the core business. As Roland said, the future of building will look completely different in the future. And as PPC, the question is, how do we participate in that trajectory? And there are various things that we've looked at internally. And one of them is, how do we deliver buildings quicker while we are taking into consideration the social issues in our country? And there's some work ongoing around that topic. Deliver low-cost housing, affordable, not low-cost, affordable housing, quicker, to make sure that we address also at the same time the social issues that are existing in our country.
Are you at liberty to give us examples?
Precast. Can you cast a house in 3 days? You still need labor. You can actually even look at insulating properties on your concrete to still deliver those properties, so those houses. So those are some of the things that we need to actively start looking at and see how we can partner with those already in those spaces to deliver low-cost housing.
One of my favorite examples, you're talking about housing, one of my favorite examples, and I know I've shared this with you before, is the Chilean social initiative of half a house.
Yes.
Where in building, in what South Africa we would call RDP houses, they don't build the whole house, they actually build half the house. That's your dwelling, and the other half is available for you to finish the construction and build your personal, your family balance sheet.
Absolutely.
And why I love that is it points to a world in which you get to win-win outcomes.
Exactly. Another aspect is in terms of, if you look at our industry, our operations, it actually comes across like, these big assets, there's very little room for digitalization. But we are actually, for example, doing the first project in Zimbabwe where we're actually doing artificial intelligence. We're actually installing artificial intelligence to run our kilns. And it will be the first in the continent to really get your plant to run artificial intelligence. And what are the benefits? One is, firstly, you optimize, obviously, from an energy point of view, which indirectly addresses the issue of decarbonization because you are reducing your energy consumption. Secondly, you actually start to factor in predictive maintenance, meaning you up your runtime, you are able to serve your customer, which is really, the aim eventually is to make sure that we delight our customers. So it has to be supported by the activities throughout the entire value chain to make sure that we delight our customers. The other issue, I think, on the Africa report that you'll see is how do we factor the local conditions in our ability to serve the customer. And a classical example is, in this case, is Rwanda. 300 kilometers in a Rwandan context is different because of the topography. So what will take you 2 hours in South Africa, in a Rwandan context takes you 6 hours. If a customer wants product on time, as and when he wants to pour concrete, or as and when he wants to build a house, 6 hours is quite a long time.
Very different conversation.
Very different conversation.
Yeah.
So, and the question is, how do we sort out our value chain, our processes, to make sure that we can address those specific customer needs? And that's how this whole concept of virtual logistics or virtual warehousing started. So we load a truck without an order, on its way to Kigali, you sell that truck and you deliver the product. So the customer puts the money in your bank now. By the time, actually, 2 hours later, he sees the trucks arriving, coming to deliver. What a wow experience, because he knows the distance, or she knows the distance already from the plant to the market. And these are the complexities of our market. And you factor in a country like the DRC, where the market is completely disintegrated, where you have a your customer base takes anything between 40 loads and 600 loads, and that's 60% of the market.
Wow.
How do you serve that disintegrated market? And that's how we launched DigiCement. And actually the idea was born out of a case study, actually, at the Africa CEO Forum in Abidjan. The CEO award winner 3 years ago was actually a Kenyan individual who distributes bananas in the city of Nairobi. He's got small hawkers in Nairobi, and you understand the context of Nairobi, traffic congestion. So what he does is he actually gets orders throughout the day with M-Pesa payment. In the evening, all what he does is actually schedules deliveries. That's what he does. And this is exactly the same model we adopted in the DRC, learning out of other industries to address the needs of customers in that particular market, where you can actually even couple that with the tuk-tuks to actually deliver 10, 15 bags to your customers. And that's how the extent we go to ensure that we are able to delight our customers, but also disrupt the market. In Zimbabwe, we were the first to introduce pelletized cement. Everybody said, pelletized cement is not for this market. Today, everybody wants to copy, because we understood the market and we understood where the opportunities are, and we leverage on those opportunities to delight our customers.